I think vlog number 22 or 23. And I'm just gonna put this, I don't know what I'll do with the audio, but I'm gonna make it part of my vlog series, and then we can just chop it up and see what happens. So hello everyone, this is my girlfriend, Wendy.
Hi.
Wendy doesn't videotape herself often,
No,
so this is
very uncomfortable,
fun.
but
this is very fun. Okay.
You know, I thought I wanted to try to do that a lot more this year, but I just haven't.
No.
Maybe I'll make it a 2021 thing.
Okay, is that working? Maybe we'll put the gain up a little bit more. What about now? What about now? Okay, it's a little bit better. All right, babe. Well,
All right.
What's today?
Why don't you say what
today is? December 11th, and that means this was 1 year ago today. Wendy and I had our very first coffee date.
Yeah.
And pretty much ever since then, we have never spent more than 5 days apart.
Yeah, when you went up north. So It wasn't even like a, I don't know. I guess it was planned.
Yes.
To spend that time apart, and we've been in each other's space like most of every day too.
Yeah.
A lot of time together.
A lot of time together, and so I thought it would be kind of cool to make a video as a like a landmark of where our relationship is, because I think that for both of us this is the first just a really healing and healthy relationship.
Yes.
And so we've learned a lot about ourselves in this year and plan to learn a lot more in years to come. And I just thought making a little video and a little bit of a audio format would be cool, because maybe we'll say something that's inspiring to other, other
people, other
couples,
people
single
who want to go into a relationship. Yeah, everybody.
Yeah. Just
because it's like, I feel like we just did, well, I know for myself, I just did a lot of healing that I didn't know that I needed. I thought I was like through some stuff, and nope.
No, that's the way that healing works, is like you get on top of the world and you're feeling good, and then there's just another, valley waiting for you to walk through. And it's every time that you experience a high or a mountainside that there's another opportunity to learn something new about yourself. You got to come back down from that valley, or from that mountaintop, and walk through the valley.
Yes.
And this is this relationship. What do you think that over this entire year, babe, that is something that has really stood out to you in this relationship? Like, what do you think that you've maybe learned about yourself, or something that what's a main theme?
Oh, jeez.
I don't know. I'm just trying to think of questions.
Right. Well, how I feel about this relationship is just being really open and really vulnerable, and not taking things personal. Yeah. That's been, I think, the biggest, I don't want to use a lesson as the choice word, but like really just not taking things personal. I know, like, we've had a few times where you were just taking things personal. I was just taking things personal. It wasn't the other person at all. It was just us and how we felt. So very aware of like our feelings about ourselves. Yeah. That's my biggest thing that I learned standing next to someone else who is just self-aware and open-minded and compassionate as you are. Yeah. So I appreciate that.
Thanks. Thank you, babe. Something that I was talking to you about the other night was like a big thing that I've really learned in this year is trust. Like, it's very easy for my personality, and we've seen it happen like in this year too. Like, it's very easy for my personality to get very afraid, very tense, very anxious, and to want to kind of have my foot out the back door, and I'm ready to leave. I'm ready to be like, this is uncomfortable. I don't want to be in a relationship anymore. And the amount of trust in not only just the process, knowing that this uncomfortable place has nothing to do with my partner. It has everything to do with my partner reflecting back my insecurities or the places that I need to put a little bit more of attention towards. And I think in most every other relationship that I have, when someone does that, they put up a mirror and I have to look at myself, I get very afraid of what I'm looking at. And I want to run away from it because it's a part of me that I don't understand and that I don't want to understand. And with this, it's like, with you, you have this mature, emotional grace about you, where you are just a nurturing person and you welcome that space, even though it's uncomfortable for you too, to watch me go through these uncomfortable emotions, like I want to run away and I just want to, you know, not be so close to you. I know that that's uncomfortable for you, but you also, you give me that space and that grace, and that allows me to trust you more, because I know that I don't have to hurry up and get through whatever I'm going through in order for you to stay in love with me or to stay dedicated or committed to me. And
giving each other the space this year has been humongous.
And like you said before, that was not taking it personal, like not taking when I am being however I'm being volatile, that it's not ever you, and that this is what a healing relationship is that you're not, it's not a perfect thing where you're happy all the time.
No,
that is a thing. We are happy a lot, but
we are.
It's
we
not,
say that like we have to say it, like we are happy.
We are good. No, but it's true. I think recognizing that we are in a good space
human and we go through emotions. Like it's not gonna be just nothing but fucking mountaintops all the time. Like we've hit some valleys. We've been through a lot of emotions, and we've been through the swamp. You know, we've been through like
literally
some really crunchy spots, and like we both. What I really appreciate about this whole year, Troy, is that we both just keep choosing each other, and the amount of trust that we have between each other has been. I don't know. It's like, I don't have words to describe it because it's nothing I've ever felt before. Yeah. I've never had a partner in a healthy relationship. Ever.
High five.
High five to both of us.
It's like, when you go into a relationship with self-awareness and you realize what you're doing and you realize, okay, this is my partner and this is a love that I want to pursue and this is something that I want for my life. You just start to realize that you have to take, this is what I've had to realize. I have to take an extreme responsibility over everything that I do, and that just because you do or say something that might make me feel uncomfortable or, you know, make me question myself or whatever the uncomfortable emotion is, that's my responsibility to move through that. And when I do that, it takes the pressure off of, oh, my partner is this, that, or the other thing.
Yes.
It's like, no, my partner's amazing and she's opening up this part of me that I would rather not see. And when there's this love there, when there's this trust there, that's the thing, and that comes from myself. Like I can only trust you as much as I allow myself to trust you. You're only there waiting for me to you know, be in love and to make good decisions in our relationship. And I have to trust and allow that thing to happen. And you can't make me trust you. And so really what I've learned about this relationship too is that this is just an extension of myself. You're the most intimate that anyone gets to see, Troy. We have the most intimacy. Like, you see the most intimate side of me. And that is where I think I keep a lot of my hidden secrets and of my traumatic past, or where I need work on, or what I need to heal more. And you bring those up. And so I think in all of my relationships, that's why relationships are and have been so difficult for me. long-lasting relationships have been so difficult for me, because as soon as someone brings those uncomfortable things up, I get defensive, I take it personal, and I don't trust that they're gonna love me on the other side, and that they're gonna use something against me, and I'm learning about where all those things are stemming from. But in this relationship, I know that with every disagreement and conflict that we have, that I trust you, that we're gonna move through it on the other side and learn something deeper about ourselves, and get deeper into this intimacy. Oh.
Thank you for sharing that.
Yeah, that felt really good to say. Really good to say.
It's scary, I think, for anybody. I know for myself, like I have, dark valleys too that I have been through, and I really don't want to show to anybody, and vulnerable spaces that I don't normally want to show with anybody. And it's like, thank you for that space this year. And thank you for loving me through that stuff too.
Yeah.
And it's crazy that like you have to go through those spots in order to know that, like, hey, we're gonna make it through that. We're like any relationship. I mean, not that I've been in very many over the last 10 years, because I've just closed my heart off, and when I was ready finally to open up, be emotionally available, here was Troy.
maybe let's talk about that, because I think that's an exciting process.
It's a huge process. I was way independent, still am, but
very much. That's another thing I do love about this relationship, is how much we give each other that personal freedom.
Oh yeah,
that personal space to express ourselves.
Yeah, that's so nice. Even though like we're around each other all day, and it's not like, oh, why aren't you paying attention to me? I'm just like, what's up? And like do my own thing too.
Like, hey, I'm gonna be down here doing this, and hey, I'm gonna go hang out with this person and do this. It's like, see you when I see you.
Yeah, no,
and
it's
then
like the
connect
best.
and we connect.
There's just no pressure to like, oh, I have to stay at home with you, or like, that sounds so terrible. Like, oh, it's so bad. No, but like I think I just have witnessed other relationships, and it's not like we reign supreme. We just are through a lot of learning this year, and
oh god, yeah. No,
I wouldn't say
that this relationship is perfect. It's just healthy.
It is healthy. I mean? It's healthy with being open and giving each other space. And so back to being emotionally available. For years, I was emotionally unavailable. And I didn't actually realize that that's what I was doing, because all I was doing was trying to protect my heart, because I have, been heartbroken tremendously in the past, no trust, been cheated on.
What does emotional unavailability look like to you? What does that mean?
I guess it could, I don't want to say it could be different.
What does it mean for you?
For me though, yeah, you're right. For me, it was actually saying out loud, I do want a relationship. Instead of being like, I'm good by myself, which I said a lot for years. I was like, I'm cool by myself. Like, but I really am whole on my own. But I know deep down inside that I wanted to share that with somebody. You can only experience so much on your own, and then you want to share it with someone, which was contribution, right? Is it contribution?
To
the six
human
needs, which is
I think it is contribution. Yeah,
it was the sixth one,
bigger than yourself. Yeah,
which is sharing it. And so like that was cool. That was a really good podcast to listen to. Come on. Okay, so one thing, we have Kitty here, and ever since Troy and I have been together, this kitty will find us if we're sitting next to each other, and she will just want to get in the middle of it.
She does love it a lot.
She loves Troy more than me now. It's fine.
If we're cuddling or if we're sitting really close, she wants to be
right where we are.
The point that we're connected at. Like she feels a lot of, I don't know what, I can't speak for Kitty, but I feel like she feels a lot of
after this life. She's the best though.
Yes. What are you saying, babe? Oh, about emotional availability.
Okay, like so what that looked like for me. And so I guess just saying out loud the things that I actually wanted, instead of saying the opposite. Even though I felt like I was fine and whole on my own, which I am, but I do want to share this life with somebody. I want to go on adventures with someone. I want to have a person that I know like is going to be there for me.
And how how did you know that you were ready to be in a relationship? Like, it's like, you know, you're good on your own, I'm whole, and you're like loving that, and okay, yes, now you say that you do want to share this life, but how did you know?
I can't say that it was exactly a moment
Right.
that I knew, but
Right.
it was a bunch of moments that came up to the end of last year, September, October. I didn't feel sadness in my heart from past anybody in the past. I let go of all of those people who were like emotionally attached to me in some way, because like people at your dispense, you know, friends, people that just didn't serve me anymore. I let so many things just like go. And I feel like I just came to a point where it's like, I know what I want, and that's what I'm gonna do. That's what I'm gonna work towards. Like, I know what I want. Yes, I've been hurt by trusting someone else, but I'm not going to be hurt. You know what I mean? I'm going to keep my heart open to love again.
Yeah, so you like set
I opened myself up right before, and I don't want to say like this was the exact time, but one of our mutual friends, you know, she's like, just keep your mind open. When we were gonna go have coffee, and I was like, I am gonna keep my mind open. I do this thing. And it's like, I am, and I was ready. I was ready at that time. And then so it's
like you didn't put expectations on it, but if it was there, and if the vibe was right, if the energy felt like it was supposed to, and it did, and you were open for it.
I didn't have any expectations when we were going to have coffee together. I was excited to share a good conversation with somebody, and that's, actually with a masculine energy. We'll put it that way.
And that's all. To be honest with you, that's about where I was at as well. Like, I remember reaching out and being like, you know, I mean, at the time, and I'm still am very much into astrology, but I remember asking, you know, what's your birth date, and I was just looking at your chart, and because I thought I saw something about you posting astrology, and I was like, oh, sweet, another person to talk astrology with. And
because it's fun to dive into that. It's really cool.
And I didn't know how much you knew, and so it was exciting, and so I was like, yeah, like, what's your information? And I was just running your chart, and I was just looking at all of our dynamics, and I'm just like, I've never kind of seen this sort of like
how much
composite synastry. Well, it's like, I wouldn't even say I saw a compatibility, but what I first saw was like, oh, like possible business partner, or this person's really gonna help me with her business mind. And like, I think that's what I was really attracted to at first, was like this strong woman who was independent, who had her own craft, and who had her own business, and her reputation was phenomenal. Everybody knows you, and everybody loves you. Not just likes you, but everybody raves about Wendy. So it was just kind of like, it was this like, there's something special about this person, and so she's doing something right. And I just remember thinking like, I just want to know more about your life, because I saw these visions of like you just giving me sage wisdom, and I was ready to just kind of soak that up. I didn't really, I mean, I thought you were attractive, but like I didn't think that like I was not putting anything on it, like, oh yeah, I could pursue this woman and like date her.
This is a potential person to be with.
I actually was interested in who you were.
Yeah, I think leaving that expectation out of the equation is actually probably what. Maybe I can't say what, but it definitely
helps.
Not putting any pressure on like whatever this is supposed to be.
Well, that's exactly right, because I think in a lot of my relationships it has been that way. It has been very physical, and it's been I've been very confused in my life to know what it actually means, what I actually mean when I love somebody, and confusing that love with like a lustful attraction towards somebody, or does like actually just enjoying the just the presence of somebody more than like what you can do for me. Like, I literally love so much that we are so independent. That is a huge thing. I think maybe not in all relationships, but as far as everything I've experienced, this has been the best, because the individuality and the independence is like I said, hey, I'm gonna go hang out with this person, and it's not like, oh, why didn't you ask me first, or like, oh, we had planned. Like, it's always just like, we're always working with each other and helping each other out, and when we do connect, it's always super good, and there's never any like expectations holding over each other's heads.
Yeah.
And
So
I just love that. I think it creates just a deeper connection when people are allowed to, and that goes back to the trust thing. I mean, you've been cheated on, and that's something that I haven't experienced, at least none that I know of, and that can really damage someone like's ability to trust. So the fact that you're able to open that up,
it took a long time.
It bonds even more.
It took a long time for me because I wasn't doing the work at first with that.
Yeah.
And then once I did start to do the work.
What is the work? What is that? Like, what does that mean? Because not that, no, you're totally right with what you're saying, but like, what was that process for you? Because I think people could really get some value out of because when people say the work, it's a very broad thing. So like specifically, like what was that thing, the emotion?
It was just self-love. Yeah. Like knowing that like the love that I give out, I want that back too. You know, like, not I want that back, you should give that to me, but like you
deserve that.
I do, and I wasn't giving myself that at all. And I was being at, I feel like I was being at others' expenses, and I wasn't giving myself enough respect and love. And so for me, I really just went inward, and then that was kind of scary. So I kind of pushed that away for a while.
Yeah, what was that? What's that?
I don't really have anything like specific, but to go inward, I just know that I've been in some very depressive states of mind. And so when that darkness comes up a little bit, I just don't want to go there because it's scary, and I took a lot for me to just get out of that space. Yeah. And so like, not one thing, because there's many things this year that I really appreciate about you, is just understanding that I have darkness too, and just being a safe space for me to share that with. It just really feels good. But yeah, I think it has to do with like self-love. And I know that's like a trendy fucking thing right now. It's like people are like self-love.
Well, let's talk about what does self-love look like to you?
Respecting myself. That's the biggest thing.
What's some like actions that you took that you're like, yeah, this is me respecting myself. This is me
using my voice just to stand up for like, no, I don't feel comfortable with that, or like, I think it had to do with communication, which is something that we both just really, I don't know what the word I'm looking for is, but we do really well with that. Like, okay, like just having the communication. It was hard for me to say no to people, and especially when I didn't want to do things or be available for somebody when I was like, I don't know. It's just such an accumulation. So.
Oh yeah, oh for sure.
It's not just like one thing that just like, hey, switched me into like, hey, I'm an emotionally available person now. It's like I just knew what I wanted. And I wasn't afraid to share some very intimate things and know that like whatever was going to happen from that response, that I'm fine by myself. So like, hey, if you couldn't accept things that I have in my past, okay. As much as you're beautiful and amazing, like we're not supposed to be, or whatever. It's like, so totally. Yeah, I think that's like, I think that was one of the things.
Good. No, I see a lot of wisdom in that too, and a lot of value, just because it's like like making these videos. It's like making this podcast. It's like you get on, you don't know what you're gonna do, but and we were talking about today being creative. When you're starting a new project, you have an idea of what you want, but you don't know what you're gonna do in the moment you're gonna do it. You only know it when it's happening. So for you, as you're saying that, I just pictured you where I've heard many other people talk about a similar process, that you just need to know what you want. You need to set out your intention for your instance. It's like, I want a partner, and I want to live this life, and just then be open to that, and be open to the process of it happening. just because you said you were open to being in a relationship doesn't mean that you're going to say yes to the first one.
Right.
It's like you're just open, you're creating self-awareness, and that you know what you want. So when it comes in front of you, you can't miss it because you know what you want.
Yes.
And if it's not in front of you, it's respecting yourself enough to know, I have to say no, even though you're beautiful. I have to say no, even if we have a lot of things in common. It just doesn't feel like it has that sixth sense. It doesn't feel like it has that extra bit. Because I think we can choose to be with anybody if we want to, but there is something about bringing a larger than life component into a relationship, and that's something that I'm starting to really love expressing with you, Wendy, too, is just our spirituality and our spiritual connection that we are really working on in this relationship, realizing that we both have been hurt by the institution of God and in Christianity.
That's a weird thing.
So I think in most relationships, when you try to bring God back into it, it sounds very it's crunchy and it doesn't feel like it resonates. But we're creating this another way to express our spirit and to really bring. And I really think that's just what spirituality means to me, is having a larger than life quality about your existence. That you have your physical, mental, emotional, but then you have something that goes above and beyond all of that, and learning how to bring that into this relationship. Oh, and I just saw 777
That's
on the thing.
That's been like our number too. Well, mine anyway. I've been seeing 77 like crazy. Oh, today, speaking of numbers, or even just like over the past year, last year, on this day, gosh, actually I don't even know where to begin with all of the number synchronies that we have just in the beginning. Now
it's always been
here comes our furry BFF. Well,
and that's what I and so even numbers, right? That can even be part of spirituality. Like, come on, kitty, don't just keep calling me. So that's what I was kind of getting to as well, is that it's having a larger than life, having spirit, having God, whatever label that you want to put on it is okay, but knowing what that means inside of your relationship. And so we're building our own vocabulary when it comes to spirituality, but in that, we use numbers and we use these symbolic meanings and messages that happen inside of our lives to really like connect us.
Well, numbers are time and space, so it's like, it's time and space and the way things move together. Right. So
I just remember when meeting you, and I'm trying to get to this one initial point, is that I remember when meeting you, and this is going back to what I was saying, there's got to be that sixth sense. There's got to be that extra level of intimacy, I think, when it comes to finding that partner, that person, that I don't want to say the one because it sounds so cheesy, but it's like,
gosh, my nose keeps running, sorry.
That's okay, babe. But there was this energy with you that was like, I don't know how, I don't know exactly why, but I'm attracted to you. And not Troy. Like, Troy was attracted to you, and it's 333. Troy was attracted to you, but there was a deeper attraction that wasn't Troy. That was like, you have no other choice but to go into this relationship. And that's the kind of, I think, spirituality that I can't speak for everyone, but I know that it has really helped me on my process, because those moments where I want to run away and I want to run from this pain that I'm seeing, I stop myself and remind myself, you would know, Troy, if you were supposed to leave this relationship. You're just in pain. You're just uncomfortable. And yes, your entire life you've been running from your pain and you've been running from this uncomfortable feeling, but you'll know when you're done. And you're not done. You're just scared. You're just afraid. You're just full of pain that you haven't really been able to express. And now here's your opportunity. Here's this beautiful person who has so much grace that you can communicate, and that you can go into this loving space with this person and she's not going to hurt you. And you'll know that if you're not supposed to be with her, because you have to trust in that larger than life quality. You have to trust into God. into God, into spirit, into Jesus, whoever it is that you get your highest influence from. When you put that into your relationship, you can sort of just sit back and relax while you do the work. Like, I'm not saying sit back, relax, and like, Wendy, take care of me. But it's like, sit back and relax. Know that you're going to do everything that you're supposed to do, and that nothing is a mistake, and none of your pain or your trials mean nothing. They do mean something. And that's something that I've wanted to always bring into a relationship. I just never knew how to communicate it. And now we're moving into that space. And we're learning how to create this larger than life quality in our relationship, not just our own individual lives.
It's really beautiful to share. I'm just really thankful for that, the divine timing, how everything worked out. It still blows my mind.
Me too. I'm thinking about wrapping this up. Thinking about wrapping it up.
Sounds good.
I want to thinking about maybe what's some like lasting thing we should say? Maybe like either to give people value, or maybe like something, I don't know.
Like a tagline?
No, not like a cheesy slogan tagline, but like I don't know. Is there one last thing that like maybe is on your mind that you like? No, I do want to say that, or
I guess just find what you want and go for that. Figure out what you want. And you can change your mind, because I do a lot. But not in a bad way for me, anyway. It drives Troy nuts a little bit.
It does.
It's okay.
Because I have not been given the grace to change my mind. I have been punishing myself most of my life for changing my mind so frequently. You gotta pick one thing, Troy. Like, I have all of these influences that make me feel... I have let people make me feel like changing my mind is like you're flaky and you're wishy-washy and like you don't mean what you say.
And here I am like...
You're like, oh, what do you want to do? This? And like, are you ready to do this? Well, I just don't want to do that right now.
Or I'll just be like, well, we could do that. Or what about this?
Yeah.
I just am just all over when it comes to that. I'm a Libra moon.
Yeah, I was just going to say, for the ones who love astrology, she has a Libra moon. And anyone who has an air moon sign... buckle up, and
we just like to look at the big picture. I'm like, hey, this sounds good. Oh, but that sounds good too. And I could go both ways. I'm like, hey, let's go.
Yeah, it's
just a free flowing in the wind, like
go
like the air sign does.
Figure out what you want, and then go after it. Set your intentions. Figure out what kind of person you want to be. Figure out what person you want to. Figure out you. It's all about self-awareness. All of this is only possible because Wendy is self-aware and Troy is self-aware. And when two self-awareing individuals come together, they create a greater understanding of what a relationship actually means. And like I said before, it doesn't mean that we have a perfect relationship. It means that we have a healthy relationship. So stop associating healthy with perfect, because I think that stops a lot of us from deep intimacy, is realizing that perfect is bumpy, perfect is uncomfortable, perfect is fucking scary, and it moves you.
Plus it has many definitions of what perfect means to anybody.
True.
Also, I heard that, well, I guess it's like a quote, that the healthy relationship is the hardest after, I guess you could say the toxic relationships, or I guess toxic would be the only word to describe that, but it's just like it's just a good thing to know that, like, hey, a healthy, beautiful, happy relationship is still going to be work.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
All right, babe, let's close it out. Okay. I'm excited to see what next year's video is
going to be. I know, that'll be exciting too.
What we're going to look like and what we're going to say. And
we're going to be in Greece, remember? Or somewhere else. And we'll be like, hey, we're making this from here.
So 2021, Greece, we're coming for you. All right, thank you everybody for watching and for those who have listened. And we'll catch you next time.
Good job, babe.
Good job to you, babe. 34.